On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Got a bunch of new Q posts and some really big hints that are being thrown our way. Looks like this is going to be an exciting week coming up, so something to keep in mind here. Let's go ahead and jump straight into those Q posts. We've seen this guy before, haven't we? All right, starting off where we left off, post 4072. Boom, week ahead. Treason doesn't play well in the end, folks. I think we've got a lot coming out that's going to be affecting the way this plays out. I truly do think some truth is coming out. People are hinting that Comey is possibly going to be brought on charges or indictments made against him. It's probably going to be a big week. Again, a lot of things seem to be playing up like he was well aware of what was happening. He was very much in the loop, and they've even come to show, it looks like, that Obama was very much in the loop as well. So a lot of things are starting to unfold. Last couple days have just been a landslide of posts from Q. Here's post 4073. It's showing a Washington Post or a Washington Times article here. Coronavirus talking about how this is really played out as an advantage for the political system. How when you really look at the way the virus is spread, the way the people have told us to stay indoors, to try to lock down society, try to lock down the businesses, try to lock down all these jobs and really screw things up. They've actually seen that there's a very kind of nefarious approach that's gone with this. People are truly trying to hurt the American people, trying to take advantage of this for political gains. There is a whole large set of points that people keep trying to make. I'm tap dancing around it because we get beat up on for saying things incorrectly, right? And I don't want to necessarily step on any toes of anybody, but at the same time want to speak to the larger truth, which is this situation seems to be a bit of a cover for something else. The numbers don't quite add up the way they're being played out. So again, Q's kind of bringing that to our attention as well. This one's a fun post, 4074. We never thought she'd lose. I mean, this is just said over and over and over, right? We never thought she'd lose, never thought she'd lose. Well, guess what? She did. Reason she did, for a lot of reasons, let's put it that way, but they weren't able to cheat like they were. Something I'm curious about, and I'm not sure if this is going to come out or not, but I see XCO Bon. For some reason, Excabon, I see a word in there, and I'm not sure, and I kind of dug into a little bit to see if any Anons had found anything yet. It's still kind of early on this one. This one was posted not too terribly long ago, 7:45, so yeah, 8 hours, 12 hours ago, whatever. So I don't know. We'll see how this one kind of plays out. But again, it's very funny. And I love when they morph this dude's face onto all sorts of crazy people. Like, he's a giant, like knowing this guy's like 7'12", whatever the hell he is. But his little teeny tiny feet and his giant body, it's just funny to me. Anyway, one thing that I started to go down this rabbit hole because of this guy specifically and found some really interesting posts in here. You know, obviously there's a lot of cool stuff that they tend to share in here. And so I went digging through a few of them. This one jumped out at me. Now, this one is really interesting. They're talking about these 10 days of darkness. It started on a specific day when Trump gave a speech, and we're going to share 26 seconds of that anyways. So on that starting day, with a little bit of research someone's done here, the way they've planned it out is that today, 5/3, May 3rd, today, Eastern Time, 16:08 or 4:08 Eastern Time, something is likely going to happen. I don't know. This is what they're talking about. This is what this guy's done a lot of digging into. Long story shortened, he's saying that this is basically the 10 days of darkness. So let me at least get into it a little bit, and then we'll play this clip first, because this is a fun little clip for those of you that haven't seen this. Again, it's just 27 seconds, but it's really awesome.
Now, with that, I have a couple of we have a few clips that we're just going to put up. We could turn the lights a little bit lower. I think you'll find them interesting. And then we'll answer some questions. I'll ask you some questions because you're so guilty, but forget it. But most importantly, we're going to get back onto the reason we're here, which is the success we're having. Okay? Please.
I love when he's smug. I know some people hate it.
Now,
some people think he's got like all this attitude and stuff. I love it. I love it when he's got that smile on his face, like, look, I'm about to hand you your backsides. I'm about to essentially just, hand out, here you go, here's your butt, You can have it back now. Thank you very much. I'm done with it. I love it. So again, the press has been walking into constant landmines. I mean, there's no legs left on any of these guys as they're walking through this minefield. And again, things are going to be shown. You give someone enough rope to expose what they're doing. That is what's been going on. Certainly with the COVID-19 virus, for sure. I think it's really shown what governors, local leaders, the president, senators, it has really shown individuals to the larger people. For those of us that needed to see what our individual leaders were doing, like here in California, Feinstein and the other nut job, like to see what they're doing and watch how they're responding to this, and to watch how our governor just shut down the Orange County beaches only, which I live in Orange County. That's kind of funny. Like out of all the other beaches, Orange County is the one that we need to shut down. So again, stuff's going on. People are seeing what's happening. And I'm sure your state's very much like mine, where you've got your own thing. Michigan, people are still freaking out over that. So again, Atlanta, I think, was another one. We even had rallies in my local city. My city's not that big where I live here, folks. And they had rallies in our downtown. It was unreal. This is so freaking cool how many people are just like done with this. So anyway, continuing on with this thought that this Anon went through, and thank God these guys are on our side. That's all I can say. But fellow patriots, I'm being advised actions have created accelerated counteractions. We have not yet ascertained the scope of the attack. Watch news outlets. POTUS's Twitter takedown was not by accident, as referenced several hours ago. Should the lights go out, please know we are in control. Do not panic. We are prepared and assets are in place. God bless. It must be go for now at this point. The lights out thing is something that's been brought up. 10 days of darkness, all this stuff. There's just been this weird talk. Now, supposedly a while ago, they said, hey, no, we've got these things under control. This shouldn't happen. But again, they're making references, and sometimes it's more metaphoric. Sometimes it's more from the actual power grid. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's just throwing us an error. But again, that was post 64. That was a long time ago, right after Q started posting originally. Now here we've got from sea to shining sea was a marker. Who does Huber report to directly? Define evidence. Who has the server? Why does POTUS continually refer to the server? POTUS does not speculate, and he really doesn't. He yammers, he talks a lot about stuff, but he doesn't really speculate. When he gives information, it's because he's onto something, and he's giving us a hint that, hey, I know more than you realize. So who has it all? Topics stated in the past. Future, big meaning, which I think we're getting to that future right now. I think that future is today. Repeats important. Think Twitter. Those awake see. Those asleep are blind. And people are waking up massively, folks. Fake news, prop arms of the Democratic deep state are failing. People are starting to realize that they can't trust the news, that the news is made up. Even Fox. Fox is horrible now. Fox is literally, you can so tell how deep state even Fox is now. They come from a different angle, but they still have the same thing. They're still trying to push this agenda that's questionable. And I still wonder who some of the good actors and bad actors are. I think there's a couple that we're sure of. There's a couple that I think you would think are good that aren't. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. And that, I think, is going to start to show itself very soon as well. There's still one, and I hate to say it, 'cause I like the guy, but I still think Tucker Carlson's going to really upset us here at some point. And I'm hoping he doesn't. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong. I pray I'm wrong, because I really like the guy, but I don't know. There's been a few places where he's pushed certain agendas that are not kind of part of the Patriot agenda, so we'll see. 1681 here, they're also referencing disinformation is real and necessary. And this is one of the things that a lot of us forget, too, that sometimes we're misled intentionally because all of us that hop on the microphone, blah, 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 this is what's happening, and then, it doesn't. So again, deep state's listening to these channels, deep state's looking at these posts, deep state's curious what the Anons are coming to as well, because you guys are so good, you're figuring it out for them too, not just us. So sometimes we even need to be misled. Please understand that's going to happen, and that's expected, and it's not meant to be bad or malicious, but it is meant to get this thing across the finish line, if you will. So this is what they keep talking about. Result 19 days, 22 hours. This guy's done all sorts of research to dig into this. It's kind of, I don't know, it's almost mind-numbing, but whatever. So based off, let's see if there's anything in here that points it out. Yeah, he's just got all those numbers, which is great. It's groovy. A couple funny things, and we will get closer to the answer where the dates are, but I think this is hilarious. I just had to show this, right? Like the little hand mouth thing, and that looks like that's what he's doing, talking to President Trump, and Obama's like, no, that really is a really good hand mouth. That's awesome, right? And then Biden's like, yeah, well, but what was I saying? Yeah, I think it's funny. I don't know. It's just what I keep seeing. Of course, this over here, Flynn's going to be exonerated. Next question is this: why would the cabal stage a coup against Trump? What does Trump know about them? They thought she would never lose. They never thought he had a chance at all. They thought they had this in the bag. They didn't even bother to hide stuff. There was still things left out in the open. It was like mom and dad got home from a vacation and you had all your druggy friends over at your house and didn't bother to put anything away. The bong's still sitting there, right? Like, not okay. Not okay. So, also, hey, Comey, this is a can of whoop ass. I'm opening it right now. Look at that. I love that. The look on his face as he really tries to get into that soda or whatever the hell he's actually opening. And then just the doofy face on his... Anyway, I'm not trying to be mean. This is also very cool here. They will be done, Father. Praying for all Anons, families, Q teams, and families. Patriots everywhere. And please, God protect POTUS, FLOTUS, and all who protect them. God bless us all. God bless everybody. And even God bless the lesser of us that right now we're fighting and struggling with. Everybody needs the love of God. All right, finally, the treachery revealed by Comey, Clapper, and Brennan requires accountability. That can only happen through a federal grand jury investigation headed by, yes, you guessed it, Mr. Huber, the U.S. attorney in Utah who has been appointed to investigate the FISA criminality by the Obama FBI and DOJ. Really important how it's stated there. The Obama FBI and DOJ. Because that's what's finally come out, is the realization that, yeah, this guy knew. This guy at the tippy top knew what was going on. And in fact, looks like was one, briefed on it, and two, he approved it, was asking of it, was actually directly, it wasn't one of those things where you could do plausible deniability, it looks like. It looks like he's straight up in the mix of this because they never thought she'd lose. Never. They didn't even bother to try to cover this. So this Cardinal James Comey, the man who destroyed the FBI, it's a fun little article here. They get into how this individual, as Deputy Attorney General, he was called Drama Queen. Known for his pomposity and self-regard, Comey cut a swath of arrogance unknown in either of those illustrious organizations. He was the cult of personality. He surrounded himself with sycophants, people dedicated to his promotion and their advancement. The Bureau and the public became the losers. He surrounded himself with basically people that would say whatever he wanted and wanted to climb to the top so badly they would do whatever it took. That's who he surrounded himself with. The director of our Federal Bureau of Investigations, our most important, probably, legal arm of our government, maybe outside of the Department of Justice, right? I mean, pretty bad stuff. So, again, painting a bad picture for Comey. It really does. And I think this would, if you think about it, this would be the shot heard around the world. This would be the thing that all patriots could get behind and be like, finally, they indicted someone real. Yeah, it's not Hillary. It's not Obama. Let's not get crazy. Let's not. That's ridiculous now. But who it is Comey, the head of the FBI. And this guy definitely broke the law. With proof. We've got proof that he's done this. So it's very interesting to see how these plays out. Post 4075, 2020 presidential election. We've got a Twitter post here. I tried to tell them, but they wouldn't listen. There it is. So look at the coronavirus hospitalizations they're kind of trying to point out right now. It's a little different, and there's a couple points, too, that they make here, which is very interesting. But one, they're talking about the mortality rate at the epicenter versus the flu mortality rate. And this is CDC breaking news. All this information is starting to come out from the sources that we're allowed to report from, and they're actually starting to agree with some of the earlier thoughts from people that were considered crazy and conspiracy wackos. They're actually starting to agree with some of the original thoughts. Those two doctors, the ones up in Northern California that have had their YouTube channels shut down, These guys are actually getting a lot of attention now. People are starting to pay attention to what they have to say. In fact, I think they get into that in one of these posts here. But it's, again, there's a lot happening. One of the things that we've got to keep in mind is they keep saying we got to listen to the science, we got to listen to the science. I agree with that 100%. What the problem I have is if your scientist says one thing and my scientist says something different, aren't we both listening to the scientists? And I think that's part of the problem right now. We've got some scientists that are very on board with the specific ideology that we need to make sure everybody else is a part of. And the other side is really, I think, trying to deal with the facts, the actual truth, the information that's not meant to freak you out, but actually arm you with information so you can make wise choices. If this is as horrible as it is, then all of us are going to be wearing masks. All of us will wash our hands. We know how to protect ourselves. We'll be fine. But at least give me the real information about what this is, not what you're trying to hype it into. So again, a lot of things are playing out right now. And this post right here, I think, tries to sort of wrap it up a little bit for us. Post 4076. What would have happened if POTUS challenged the COVID-19 narrative from the beginning? Literally, what if right out of the gate, he's like, Dr. Fauci and this other lady, they're crazy. They're nut jobs. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. None of this is true. I've talked to my scientists. My scientists say that these people are wrong. No, he would have probably been impeached again, right? Like, yeah, he's trying to kill us now. So again, he's got to play this intelligently. He's got to play, again, they keep talking about 4D chess. Basically what's going on. He has to play this tick for tack, move for move. I know what you're trying to do. I know you're trying to shut down the economy. I know you're trying to change voter laws. I know you're trying to make adjustments to society so you can hijack the next election. I see that. I know you're doing that. So knowing you're doing that, I'm going to counter. I'm going to plan some things a few months down the road. I'm going to make sure investigations are happening. I'm going to make sure I have certain people in the courts that will back the laws rather than what your crazy, foolish agenda is. So again, he has been putting pieces in place. He has been getting pawns moved to where they need to be, where at first you would be like, so what, it's a pawn and right, who cares about that pawn? But then 12 moves later, you're ending up moving your bishop and that pawn takes it out. And that's how this game is played. He is doing a phenomenal job doing this. So what would have happened if he came right out of the gates and said, yeah, this is crazy? It wouldn't have gone over well. Sometimes you can't tell the public the truth. That's true. You can't handle the truth, right? Like, that's a great line from an awesome movie, and it's true in some cases. We wouldn't be able to handle the truth. People literally would panic and run out into the streets and God knows what else if this happened. So, no, they're not going to be totally honest with us about what's happening. We, again, are the sheeple, and they're trying really gently to guide us to where we need to go. Our wonderful flock that you could call us. So sometimes you can't show them the truth. You must show them. You can't tell them, you must show them. Great Rush song. Who benefits the most? Why are D's so solely focused on closure? Right? Because if they can close everything down, if they can make the elections a mail-in, if they can open up this month-long process, it gives them all sorts of time to sabotage that entire process. They have to retain power. If they do not get power back in this coming election this year, if they don't get power back, they're done, and they know it. This is their last chance. All stops. A pandemic is a pretty big card to play if you think about it, right? That's the trump card they're playing out, and it seemed like we were more or less prepared for it and saw where they were going. We'll see. And of course, they want to do the vote by mail. I already mentioned that. They do not care about your well-being, and they don't. You are simply in the way. You are the sheeple. You are the useless masses. This is about regaining power. These people get a lot of money shoved into their pockets. There is a lot of money that comes with power, and these people are really into it. If you think about the kind of personality that ends up being a politician, it's usually someone that's seeking power, glory, that likes having people like look up to you and idolize you. It's a bit of a bad type of person, right? Like it's not someone that you typically would see as being a good family man or a good balancing act. No, these people are usually very selfish, very all for one, one for all. So self-preservation is what it's all about. Every asset's deployed right now, everything they've got's out on the table. I think everything we've got's out on the table, except hidden. They don't really know some of the stuff we've got below the surface. So win by any means necessary, win or die is truly the thing they want to do here. Finally, it's a great slide. And the final one here, 4077. This is a good old Twilight Zone, I think, right? Imagine, if you will, a man beyond sight and sound. So he's talking about a world where people believe that the temperature of the planet can be controlled by giving more money to the government. Now, folks, I will say, too, on a quick thing, that has been my biggest concern about this whole issue with the climate. Of course, climate's changing. Yes, I agree with that. But when you look at the carbon cycle, when you look at the carbon balance, Elon Musk, I was just listening to a thing with him and Joe Rogan. The carbon balance is where the issue is. We're pulling carbon out of the earth, old carbon possibly, and then we're burning it and releasing it. Now, I'm not saying it's CO2, I'm saying it's the carbon. And it's that releasing of carbon, that burning of carbon creates energy. But I have never, ever once felt like handing the government more money to mismanage is the way to fix this. We don't have anyone trying to get us off fossil fuels. We don't really have anyone trying to get us off something better than battery power, right? I mean, I don't want to get on a soapbox here, but I think there's a lot of things that aren't being handled because there's trillions of dollars in energy. They want it to be energy that you have to pay for, that you have to walk up to some mechanism and push it into your car and glug, 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 or plug it into your car and have it come from the power grid. It doesn't matter. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. We're still using carbon in the most cases to generate electricity. So we've got to come up with something better. And what blows my mind is we're like Star Trek practically now, and we can't freaking figure out a way to get off fossil fuels. So sad. So anyway, the world's waking up. People are starting to realize. Let's check out this last Twitter post. This is actually very, very cool. So when the left says, believe in science, just remember that their climate expert is Greta Thunberg. Gotta love that. That's pretty darn funny. So right down here too, just for the last little part here for all you that are a hashtag Trump is not a doctor crowd. Bill Nye, not a scientist. Greta Thunberg, not a climate expert. Hillary Clinton, not a president. AOC, not an economist. CNN, not a news network. Joe Biden is not winning in 2020. And I kind of think about this too. Jeff Epstein didn't kill himself. It's just the way things have played out. We've got more interesting stuff coming today, 4 o'clock Eastern time. The presser, there's going to be probably something going on with the president. So find some form of a news source that you can tune into at that time. Probably going to be a very exciting day, and boom, boom, boom next week for sure. I think we're not for sure, but I think there's a large chance we're going to be hearing some interesting information starting to come out about indictments, probably Comey. It would make a lot of sense, and I think they've got so much evidence against that guy that there's absolutely no way he can get out of this. And it might be interesting who he's willing to negotiate along the way, and Obama just keeps popping into mind, which, by the way, if you think about it, because Michelle Obama is probably going to get thrust into the limelight here soon, along with Hillary, because there's absolutely no way Biden can be the president. There's no way Biden's even going to make it to the election. I can almost guarantee it. The guy is falling apart. Any time you watch him talk, he is falling apart. He would not be able to handle a debate with Trump for sure. He couldn't handle a debate with a 4-year-old right now. The guy is a mess. So he's going to get replaced. And if you think about it, which is really funny, and I kind of look forward to seeing how the Democrats feel about this, but ultimately, they voted for this Biden guy. The Democratic committee or convention or DNC, whatever, they're going to take Biden away from them because he's senile. And they're not going to give him Bernie. No. The other guy that was in the running, he's not even on the plate. No, what they're going to do is they're going to bait and switch. They baited them with Biden and Bernie, but they're going to switch them with Hillary and probably Michelle Obama. I really do think that's going to be the case. Some people are like, well, I'm not sure who's going to be who. If it's going to play out, there's no way Michelle Obama's going to be president because Hillary, I don't think, would let her. Or like literally Michelle Obama would survive 6 days in office and somehow a meteor would land on her house and kill her. Something horrible would happen. So anyway, more things are going to be coming. And I think the way this Democrat thing's playing out, it's going to upset a lot of people. And with Obama getting bad press right now and Comey possibly coming to the table to admit to all the things that Obama did, that's already going to counter what the deep state's trying to do with Michelle Obama. Again, it's 4D chess. A lot is playing out. This should be a very exciting week. Let's stay tuned and see how it plays out. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Click the bell icon so you're notified. And please share my videos. I appreciate it. Thanks so much, everybody. It's On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.